Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. I hope all is well. I hope y'all had a good week. Now, not sure if you've been following along, but if you have, then you are aware that we've been covering the periodic table, and every now and again the creator will come through with a message that will take us off the topic just a little bit, right? Now, of course, you don't have to wait for me to study the periodic table. Also, if you have any other topics you would like to be investigated by yours truly, let me know. Now, I wanted to give you guys a little history of me as far as the podcast is concerned, and really like a more detailed route. Now, I did go into my first spiritual ascension when I was 9 years old, when I spoke in tongues. I went into all of that. I even went into how I dated someone who was spiritually inclined, and they too had been dating someone else who was spiritually inclined, and I was spiritually attacked. So I just want to go into some things, right? Now, of course, me being someone who spoke the tongues at such a tender age, I have a great understanding that there is a world that we dwell in that we're kind of not aware of until we reach a particular level of mental, emotional, and spiritual maturity. Now, I just want to go over the word history and what it means before I go into a little bit of the details. Now, you know, a lot of these words have dual meanings, and history is no different. So the first meaning is the study of past events, particularly in human affairs. Another one was the study of change over time. Then there was another one that read the study of the past, specifically the people, societies, events, and problems. The one that I liked the most was a chronological record of significant events, and one that I feel was a more in-depth, right, description of what the word means was the bodies of knowledge about the past produced by historians, together with everything that is involved in the production of communication of and teaching about that knowledge. Now, the reason why this is so important is because knowledge is subjective, right? And depending on where you are geographically, you're going to have access to said knowledge. Now, because study means you are trying to familiarize yourself with something, you would have to wonder if, first of all, and I'm not speaking on anything in particular, I'm just speaking of the past period, right? And just follow me. When you are examining something or trying to learn something, that means you're not really in touch with what it was, with what it is, or what that thing purports itself to be, right? Studying, right, helps us understand the now. Okay? Studying helps us understand the now. So, and you have to wonder, like, ask yourself a few questions, like, how do we know what's being studied is being studied in its entirety? Like, what we know could be like 1/3 of it, right? Is the person reporting credible and reliable? Like, are they honest? Are they prompt? Are they thorough? Are they trustworthy? Are they intelligent enough to even understand? Right? Are you fully aware of what's being studied? Like, do you even know what it is you're looking at, that you're attempting to understand and expound on? Now, The creator has a lot of things that, he likes to do. And according to your relationship with him, you're going to know or you're not going to know, right? This is all contingent upon your relationship. Now, I'm going to give you guys some insight, okay, on what this thing is even about. Now, we talk about things that are taboo, okay? So, when you get into the spirit world, you'll find that many people don't talk about spiritual things like right out like that in the open, right? We have this quote like, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. There's a lot of scriptures and surahs that go into some reasons a little bit, or they'll leave you to understand rather that some spiritual things are better left unsaid. You find the conversations mainly fluid and consistent around the conscious and the spiritual communities. Like, a lot of people don't just come out and talk about spiritual warfare, right? Hence the reason, the name of the podcast, right? These are topics and conversations that are deemed inappropriate amongst many circles. Okay, so fast forward. I was 9. Okay, just a little recap. I was 9, spoke tongues in church. I was praying at the altar. I kept having this dream when I was a kid. At the age of 12, someone had slipped me something, and I ended up in the hospital. From 14 into 19, I was in a very diabolical, untraditional relationship. My first boyfriend, it was a disaster. But what I am grateful for is the foundation of my personality. Well, now I can be grateful for the experience and the knowledge, but at the time, I was just in a situation that really made no sense for me to be in, right? And I noticed that over the years, every time a transition would happen, literally everybody that was around me would be kind of like moved around, right? So these are some of the ways that you can start tracking. Pay attention to the zodiac signs of the people that come in when you're going into this transition, and those that leave, but mainly the ones that come in, because those are new energies. We want to focus on the revelation and the progress, right? And just overall forward movement. Now, fast forward to 2019, I had gone through a lot of changes with my biological mother. And, I opened up about her going to prison, about me and my sibling going into foster care, and how I basically was left for dead, right? AKA black sheep, right? So, I attempted to move in with her. A lot of spiritual stuff started happening. I accidentally opened a portal inside the house because I had purchased this Lapis Lazuli. It was used as a healing tool, but I opened a portal, right? Some more hell broke out, but I realized that portal had to be open for the hell to break out, for me to understand that the spiritual world was indeed real, like I had assumed for so many years, and for 2, to understand that the power you possess is not to be played with or tampered with or taken for granted. So now, and this is another reason why I know like the trinkets and the gadgets is really a big no-no. When the creator wants you to have access to the spirit world, he'll give it to you. If he does not give it to you, then you are automatically manipulating universal laws. You're breaking universal laws, and you're being the manipulator to the free energies, which affects everyone that is connected into this greater consciousness, right? Good or bad. So Okay, I get my place. Well, the reason why I had brought up living with my mom is because I had moved into my place, right? I'm more stable. I left mom's house. This is after she came home from prison, right? I did the family thing. We did all of that. I moved into my place. I'm working at the hospital. I'm driving, doing pretty fair, right? But I'm living near a graveyard. Even crazier, my dad is there, my great-grandmother is there, my grandfather, my mom's father is buried there. Like, I have family there, a cousin. This is not an unfamiliar place. Like, I'm aware of this place. I know where this graveyard is, right? I levitated, bro. I levitated. And I don't think I ever had this discussion on the podcast. If I did, I'm so sorry, but I'm just going to tell the story briefly. So, I worked overnight. So, when you work at night, your body sleeps during the day and it's awake in the wee hours, even on your days off, right? Your body gets acclimated to that schedule. So, it's like a Friday night. I'm off. I'm in the house sleep, not hanging out in the streets, right? Not yet. I am in the house. I wake up, I use the bathroom. It's about 2 or 3 in the morning. I got a J right there. I deuced it a little bit. I started reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I had drifted back off into a slumber. Bro, I wanted to say that this was fake, but it was not. I levitated. I was levitated. And, I told my friend this story, and he's like, yo, you're fucking evil. Like, you're evil. What I did not know is that I was renting from people who practiced in some very dark stuff. I mean, they were into things that was not, hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. It was not discussed. It was not something that was blatantly obvious. But what I will say is that I didn't even know, what one of them did for work. I was living in the house of a whole police officer and had no idea until I was moving, right? So, fast forward. I wake up the next day, and then I'm laying there, and then I'm like, bro. Okay, back up a little. I could not come out. I'm laying there. I feel 1 foot rise. Then I feel another foot rise. And then I feel my entire body lift up. Now, the issue is that I was alert enough to know what was happening. Like, I was adrift into the slumber, but I wasn't in, stage 4. I was maybe in stage 2, right? So that was, the first, not even stage 2. I was literally at room going into 1. For real. I was not into a deep slumber. And I'm saying that to say that sometimes those states of unconsciousness is where you can be attacked easily. Sitting on the couch, just had lunch, doze off, boom. You can hear, you can see, and you can even feel. But are you consciously computing what's happening in the room that you're in? You're literally in between, right? You're not asleep, but you're not fully awake. And this is where a lot of attacks can happen, especially at odd times of the day where you're not even conscious. Obviously this is 3 in the freaking morning. So I'm saying all of this to say that this is where this comes from. This is where the podcast comes from. My ability, my desire, my understanding is where all of this comes from. I have a history of spiritual warfare before I had even understood what had been happening. Now I'm fully aware of what all that shit was back there. But I'm saying this to say that do your history, know things for what they are and not what you want them to be. Okay? And just try to gain a really good understanding of things in its entirety before you attack it, deny it, or slander it. All right? I'm going to leave this here. I do love y'all. I do hope y'all are taking care of yourselves. I hope y'all are drinking y'all water, eating y'all fruit and y'all vegetables, and minding y'all business. Okay? Sip your tea because it's free. And get your rest. And enjoy your summer, poo. Love y'all.